Alright then, welcome back ladies and gentlemen to this little appendix or extra content regarding the Against the Storm review. This is going to be a little introductory gameplay to help better understand what's going on behind the hood and how to imagine the gameplay that was mentioned in the review itself. With that being said, let us just jump into it. This is just after one of the storm wipes that happened. This is our starting area. This is where you pretty much embark on your next city builder journey, your little settlement building expedition. You can choose one of the many hexes around your central area, with question marks being points of interest if you can reach them. For example, this little skull here, as you can see in the top left, it says barren lands. It's a modifier, the soil is too acidic, there is no fertile soil anywhere in this region. So if you plan on starting a city in any of the neighboring hexes, this is always going to have an effect on your next little map, your next little gameplay experience. You can be 100% sure that there's absolutely no point in taking any of the farming related technologies, as it will just end up being a waste. But for the sake of it, let's just go with this one. As you can see, also these little smoking hot buns on every hex. That's the reward. You can see it in the top left corner also summarized. We're gonna get 14 food and 4 cogs or whatever it's called, industry. This can later on be spent to increase your overall progression in a tech tree. We'll check that out after the individual game. Let's hop in. Once you get in here, you can pick between two, well, currently there's only 2, I assume this will unlock later, 2 caravans, which will decide how many starting settlers you have and what race they are from, as well as any of the additional items that you will take into your journey with yourself. It's also worth checking out the modifiers, because over here you will have an opportunity to see what resources you will even find. Vegetables, roots, all of these are kind of the strong side of the humans. And it's usually better to have a little bit of mix, so we will just go with the top one. And we will select our embarkment bonuses. We can take additional resources with ourselves to start the game off. A little wood can never hurt. We have 3 more slots to be able to be filled. So let's take a bit of roots, some meat, and we might as well take some veggies. No, we are overboard. Okay, we're only taking these. Alright, because you can see the cost up in the top right corner. That's all we have to spend. 1 + 1 + 2 = 4, so let us embark. There's once again a summary. There are forest mysteries. These are outside effects that will also have to be taken into consideration. These 2, the positive effects, +3 meat production, for example, and during drizzle, workers gather insects much faster. These only happen in the drizzling part of the game. And then the negative modifiers, minus global resolve, which is pretty much global happiness, and the strange lights, they only happen if the storm is happening. This is our little starting grove. Every map starts off with a little starting grove. This is your main hub area. This is what you need to keep on firing. Also, this is where your little settlers or little villagers will also come back to take a little rest, grab some food, grab some other needs. For example, humans like to have coats. They come over here, grab a coat, and then they move on with their life. And this is the storage building, which stores everything. There's no storage limit, so you can have resources up to whatever number you want to imagine. And then these are our starter little deposits. These are 4 pieces of root deposits. This is what we can harvest for resources, as well as stone deposits over here. Basically, this is our little starting section, and if we zoom out a little bit, this is the maximum zoom level. What we can see is there are other little groves currently hidden between all of... These are the biomes trees that you can see. These coral looking things are the current biome. And we have these little groves over here. Some of them are marked with skulls. These are bigger and more dangerous groves. but we've got a lot of little ones scattered over here. If we cut ourselves through the forest over there into these little entries, that's where we will be able to find additional resources to then use for building. Pretty much step 1 of every game is you get 3 new building schemes, schematics, that you can take with yourself, because if I just quickly close this, you can see that there's only a limited number of buildings I have available right now. There's basically absolutely no cooking buildings right now. There's only 2 types of houses. There are barely any kind of production buildings. These 4 are the baseline ones, and 4 baseline scavenging buildings. To be able to interact with everything, you're gonna have to keep unlocking additional collection and production buildings as you go along. For example, lumber mill is a great way to turn your chopped wood into planks. I always like to grab myself a lumber mill for that purpose. Over here we have 4 additional production buildings, nothing related to gathering. I think it would probably be nice to have some way of generating higher level food, which is the skewers and the biscuits, so we will take that with us as well. And then finally some gathering buildings. The Trapper's Camp specializes in gathering meat stuff. The Forager's Camp specializes in different types of veggies, greeneries, and insects that probably live on them. And then the Ranch is a building where you can pretty much turn your veggies into meat. So we've got 2 different approaches to meat over here. If we check the little icon up here, we can see that there's not really any natural meat to be found, so the Trapper's Camp will probably be a waste. Instead, we could use the Forager's Camp to collect the vegetables and the insects, and then maybe later on we can unlock the ranch, so we can transform what we collected into meat. And now we also have the Forager's Camp available over here, we have the cookhouse available, and the lumber mill. All of these we just unlocked. Before we go any further, we should probably establish a means to cut the wood, which is obviously going to be the woodcutter's camp, and we need to decide which direction we want to start cutting. I usually prefer cutting out around the storage area, because that's where I'm going to be placing my production buildings, and around the heart, the hub, the main core of the settlement, because that's where I'm usually going to be placing my residential areas. So probably the best thing is to start cutting wood over here. Our little workers are currently all considered to be builders, as they are not assigned to any production or gathering building, so they will all take on the role of taking stuff from the main storage to the house, and then someone builds it, and then we're good. Now we select and assign 3 workers to the 3 worker slots. Not all buildings, but a lot of buildings have specialization bonuses, which you can see over here. For example, the woodcutter's camp specialization bonus is wood. Now, the way the different races work is twofold. They usually have some overlap, but they usually like different things that you can boost their morale with. Humans enjoy having some jerky, some biscuits, some pie. As I mentioned earlier, they like to have clothing on them. They like a good beer every now and then. They prefer religion as a way of calming their nerves. And obviously everyone likes to be sheltered. On the other hand, beavers, which I will probably refer to as dwarfs moving forward, because they look like dwarfs, also like biscuits, but they're not really interested in jerky or pies. Instead, they want to consume pickled goods. They like their own housing, they also like to be clothed, and they also enjoy beer. This is one aspect that needs to be separated between the 2 races. You have to find the overlapping little aspects in their likings, and you probably want to produce those goods for them. But also, if you hover over them, you can see beavers are hardworking and honest, but also quite demanding. They are gifting woodworkers and enjoy engineering. These are the little specializations the races are good at. Beavers are good with wood and engineering. Humans are good with farming and brewing beer, for example. So obvious choice here is, if you have dwarves or beavers, you assign them to woodcutting because they're gonna be good at it. So the dwarves are going to have 10% bonus chance to produce twice as much when they cut a tree. We will leave these guys alone with their business, they can start doing that. And then we have currently 5 humans and 6 dwarves, so that's a population of 11. We're gonna need some houses. For example, we can build... Oh no, we cannot, sorry, we cannot start building big shelters because this requires advanced resources. So we're just gonna stick with the little small shelters, each of these house 3 people. And we're just gonna start popping these down around the main hub area, making sure that we also leave just 1 square worth of area around it to build roads, to have a better infrastructure going on. This is 3, 6, 9 people housed, and we have 11, so we're gonna need 1 additional house. We will just pop that down here once they're done with their woodcutting. And in the meantime, we also need to make sure we are collecting the stone down here and the root down here, or over here. To collect stone, we're gonna need a stonecutter's camp, so we can just pop that right next to it. And then to collect the roots, we're gonna need the scavenger's camp. We just need an additional piece of lumber. As soon as the woodcutter, beaver, dwarf people manage to gather that for us, we'll just pop down a scavenger's camp and start working on that. In the meantime, we can assign 2 humans to start mining the stone. And just wait a little bit until we have 19 wood right now, so scavenger's camp it is. We can just pop this thing over here, and we will also assign a few people there. We also see 2 little glowing icons in the top. One of them is the orders. This is going to be your randomly generated missions throughout the little settlement life cycle that you are having. As you can see, there's gonna be 6 or 2 times 6, that's 12 orders altogether, each of them unlocking at different time intervals. As you keep going forward and forward in the timeline, you just click on an order and then you get offered 2 different choices, which you can compare and select whichever seems more appropriate based on the objectives, how hard or easy you think it is to complete it, and what rewards you get for it. The main one being down here, the Queen's Grace, Reputation 1, as this is the main point of each mission you're going to go on. In the bottom, the little blue bar has to be filled all the way up. That is your win condition. You can achieve this through completing these orders. You get 1 piece of reputation for each order that you complete. But you can also come across glades where you can find events that can start boosting your reputation with the Queen. On the other hand, however, this is the Queen's patience or impatience. If this ever goes up, then you're in deep shit as well. So that's the main balancing part of the game. You want the blue line to keep moving upwards, and you want to keep the red line low as possible. Going back to the orders. No, this is not the orders, we'll get there in a second. Order number 1, we're already gathering wood, and we don't mind having 2 woodcutters camps either. So this just seems like something we want to go on. Easy, simple, makes sense. 3 packs. Packs are bundles of goods collected together, and then you can sell them usually at a better price. We get an increased grain production, which is worth nothing since we cannot do farming. Increased fabric production and some parts. Or we can build a trader's post and have 5. This is Ember is your basic currency, it's your gold. This is also something we want to do, so we're gonna take the trading post and Ember quest to get some biscuits and some little additional goodies we can use along the way. And we get offered the packs once again, or keep the Beaver's Resolve above 16 for 30 seconds. Beaver's Resolve is currently 12. That's not an impossible mission. We would get 2 additional beavers, some food and some parts. But then again, if we already took the mission to build a trading post, then we probably want to start doing some trading. So we will pick the Pack of Provisions quest. We will get there sooner or later. And then cornerstones. Every beginning of a year, you get to pick between 2 cornerstones. This time around, it's gain 5 pigment for every 10 insects you produced, or fuel recipes are 20% faster. On this difficulty, fuel is not ever going to be a problem, so we will just take the free resources for 10 insects, especially seeing how insects is one of the natural resources over here, so that's going to be hopefully ramping up as we go on. Pretty much with that done, we've finished all the basics. All we need to do now is work towards our little objectives, our little orders, let the game go by itself, and keep tackling the challenges as they come.